Hi, everyone. My name is Bruce, and today we're on A Girl, a Guy, and a Movie. We're going to review and discuss the movie The Abyss from 1989, directed by James Cameron, starring Ed Harris, Mary Mastrantonio, I believe I misspelled or mispronounced that, and Michael Biehn, one of my favorite actors of all time. So, Janet, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Uh, I've seen this movie probably 10 times.
Mhm.
The director's cut, I've seen three, and we would just watch the theatrical version, which is a result of the studio bullying Cameron. James Cameron got bullied by the studio because they said nobody wants to watch a special effects action adventure movie for 3 hours,
Yeah,
and
we had to make it a little shorter.
he had to take out like 20 plus minutes of it. And
Hmm.
got to say that I'm absolutely of the mindset that if anybody ever tells you that your action adventure project is too long and it's too exciting and it's too special effects heavy, tell them to shut the fuck up and do what you do. They'll make your fucking film and make it the release you want it to be, because the director's cut of this movie is far superior to the theatrical release. Michael Biehn, excuse me, Cotton, how you doing, sir? No warrior, not slighting Italians. No.
No, we that was pretty good. I forgot how intense it was. I mean, it was almost a nail biter from the beginning to the end.
Just about. It really doesn't let up after like minute three. Once
Mhm.
once the title sequence goes away,
He's making fun of you.
I know he's gonna I'm not apologetic. We'll figure it out later. So this was a movie that after the initial title sequence stops, that's
Hmm.
the only opening credits you get. Of the Abyss, big
Yeah,
long trench in the Y, and then you get to see the USS Montana fictional submarine, because they try to say it's in, I believe, Ohio class, and it's not. They there was a SSBN 741 later on, but it came out years later. Wolfton Media, how you doing today, sir? And
yeah. I was really surprised. All the training and the stuff they went through before they even started the movie, just so they could do the underwater sequences.
the
They
um,
all took underwater training to become scuba divers certified to do it, and they all worked. I think it was. Let's see. I think it
six
was.
10 hour days minimum.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to see exactly which one. I pulled it up. Hold on. Give me a second.
Sure, sure.
Um,
I can say
it
hi
said,
to all everybody in the chat. Where you can rip me for my butchering of the Italian names, even though I'm a Lombardo. Anyway,
but I was trying to find. It says that the main tank was not ready in time for the first day of principal photography, and it said that they delayed filming for a week and pushed the smaller tank schedule forward. But I think they were minimum of 33 feet underwater every time they did that stuff. So I thought that was pretty good. I'm sorry, I wasn't reading the chat or anything,
oh, you're good. He's
but I
doing.
thought that was uh, pretty interesting. The detail that he wanted to make sure he had uh, when he put this film together, by filming it and trying to make sure that it was as realistic as possible. The one thing I thought, have you ever toured a submarine?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's one right in downtown Chicago that we stole from the Germans, and then took it to the most landlocked state, sans the Great Lakes, and we parked it in plain sight right there at the Institute of Science and Technology.
Yeah. But I got to do a tour of one, and the all the times they had to go up and down the ladders and then open and close the doors, and the cramped feeling through the whole thing. I was almost claustrophobic through the whole movie. You know what I mean? And I was gripping,
That's
my hands and holding my breath a lot. I'd catch myself holding my breath. And I had totally forgot about that one scene where they were trying to go swimming under the water and get to the third port. they were to go back in to open it, and his friend couldn't make it. He said, "I can't do it. I just can't make it," and you're heartbroken, because Ed Harris is forced to have to go farther to make it to the pool to be able to just go in. And when he does, he's freezing cold, but he can't do anything because the other crazy nuts there, playing with the chain or whatever. And right at the last second where you think it's done, he's done for, his other friend had already decided, well, I got to do it. I got to swim there and fulfill my duty or whatever. And you're so happy to see his face when he's whacking that guy over the head. You know what I mean?
I love this film. This movie has such a good cast in it, and I mean, just based on the feeling of it, like James Cameron literally took the same feeling that you get from the Nostromo crew in the original Aliens movie, and he managed to put it into kind of like, it almost feels like a sequel to Alien, but it's not nearly as sinister because the aliens aren't wanting to kill us based on the fact that we're good food or we can like house another embryo. It's just the fact that they just want to get rid of us because we're warlike and pieces of shit, and I can understand.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that everything happened all by circumstance, and that was one of the things that I thought was very interesting, because this ship, the submarine that you first see at the very beginning, what went by them wasn't another submarine. See, it was one of those
little drones,
Yeah,
or little
drone.
like I want to say a drone or alien drone, but it might have actually been an alien organism. I don't know.
I think it was a drone, some type of drone to get around and look at stuff. Just like you saw the giant ship at the end, so they had to live in something. They live down there, and they're using what they've learned from wherever they came from to manipulate the water where we are, right? I just loved it. I was so mesmerized by all the sets and the detail they went through for every single scene. I mean, their outfits, the little wires that went to everything, the water, everything was moist. You could see moisture on the walls. I know men hate it when we use that word, right? But you could see it on their skin, on their hair, because it was constantly wet. So they were kinking up, her hair was humid. You could just see that it was constant moisture they were around. He did phenomenal job at trying to make sure that those types of details were filled. And even the tense, even when there was no dialogue, basically the pressure between the characters, like when you see her get off the ship, off the helicopter, right off the beginning, and you see everybody look out there and they see who she is and they're like, oh my God, fuck, we're screwed, because they all hated her because she was such a ball buster, because she demanded perfection from everyone, and that's why she was in the position that she supposedly was. And you could tell that was one of the reasons why her marriage collapsed, because she put her job over everything else. She pushed everything else out of the way for her job.
Everything was secondary aside from her career. And
and you could tell, and the tenseness between her and the other crew members that were under her husband, in that part of it, didn't like her simply because of the way she treated him too. You know what I mean? So it was a lot of personal feelings, and they did a good job at getting us to feel the tenseness between the different characters and stuff. Even though there was another woman, the woman still was like not rooting for her. It's like when she said,
Lisa One Night was definitely not a fan.
Yeah, when she said, "Hey," on the phone, over the microphone, and then she went, afterward. I just love that part, because see, it disproved that they were all behind their friend, not her. You know what I mean? And especially now that they were getting divorced. So, and the fact that he still wore his wedding ring told me he wasn't the reason why they were getting divorced. You see what I mean? I didn't see anything or hear anyone or anything come up in the movie to make you think that he was out boinking everything in town. It was just strictly the pressures of wanting to fight for her career instead of her marriage. At least that's how it came across to me. So she was the reason why the marriage was collapsing.
Yeah.
And he is the reason why the alien saved all of them. So
Yeah,
it
and
was her.
his sacrifice is why
His
the aliens.
love for her. You know what I mean? They
No, I
that's what
really disagree with that. I
I know.
really disagree with that. I think the aliens stopped everything because he was willing to sacrifice himself to save them
Mhm.
because they knew what was going on. They just lacked the ability and the appendages to be able to disable the bomb. And they when they saw everything going on with him, that was when they after he disarmed it, he's saying goodbye and his he's you
Well,
know
that's what I mean.
but
He
they
disarmed
didn't do
it.
it because of her. They did it because he did save their ass.
No, that's what I'm not saying that. I'm
Okay.
saying
Okay.
that when he went down there and he's typing, so they're reading everything he's typing. They're trying to understand. They're learning the dialogue, right? Between the people, the conversation they're having.
Mhm.
And he's going down, and I'm sure that means they can also hear what they're saying to each other, even though it seems like they communicate through their minds. Okay, they don't really speak the same way we do. So that was very interesting. But the fact that he said he loved her, I love you, wife, which meant that they were partners. Okay,
Mhm.
and that both of them were the ones that were communicating and weren't afraid of them. They were in awe. They kind of looked at him and wanted to communicate. Even when they were on the submersible, and it used the water manipulation as like a probe, to investigate the underwater uh, ship they were on. Basically, they could see the connection between the two of them. So, and the fact that after he sacrificed his love of his life to never see her again and die, to save stop the bomb from going off and maybe hurting the aliens, because they didn't know what they were. They didn't know whether or not the nuclear bomb would really do anything. See, but the fact that he sacrificed his own life to try to save the people on his ship and the creatures from being hurt by this big bomb, that's what saved. I think is they saw that sacrifice of his love for his wife, for communication, and the fact that he was trying to stop the bomb is the reason why they decided to reveal themselves and save all of them. That's what I feel. At least that's how I felt when I watched the movie. Now I
I,
could be wrong, but
I,
that's what I got
I,
from it.
I've had the comic in my hands before. I've had the novella in my hands before.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Orson Scott Card did the novella, by the way, and if you really want to read it, it's actually not bad.
Yeah, but see, I haven't read it.
Okay,
I'm going strictly from the
you're
movie.
just reviewing the movie, and I get it, but
Mhm.
there's a really cool kind of a side story that happens in the novella that if you like the movie The Abyss, if you love the way that it feels,
Mhm.
then you watch the movie and then you want to explore more. There is a special edition, there is a comic book, there is a novella, and it's really well done. The universe for The Abyss kind of is very well realized, but it doesn't ever really give you this false hope that it never gives you the false hope that these two are going to stick together through thick and thin after all, because at the end, like, yeah, they kind of exchange pleasantries, but Limbs is just kind of, she's still the same bitch she was when she got off the helicopter.
Well, see, I don't know any of that. That's that's why I don't think you should bring up that stuff, because
Okay.
we're reviewing the movie, not any of the
Yes.
other stuff. Now we can go back and look at why he decided he wanted to make The Abyss, because he knew he was 17 years old. He had read that short story.
Mm-hmm.
And it inspired him. And after that, he was obsessed with trying to make this movie,
Yeah.
and trying to figure out how he could do everything he needed to do since he was 17 to be able to write the script and do this movie. So that's what inspired him. At a 17-year-old boy reading a story that was inspiring, and the wonder he had in awe of the deep ocean, because I think he also helped pay for quite a few documentaries
Yeah, he did. He did a few documentaries on
the ocean and
the
stuff.
ocean. He did a specific one on the fucking USS Titanic or the SS Titanic. And at the
Mm-hmm.
very end, you
Right.
find out when they come up, it came up and it was fucking September 11th, 2001, and people had died. And he's like, we just wasted our fucking money. That's the dumbest endeavor I've ever done. And you're like, what the fuck? You just did one of the most complete deep dives on the Titanic, and just because like this day, yeah, a lot of people died. Now you're disregarding the entire last 18 hours you fucking did and 2 hours of fucking footage. Fuck you, James Cameron. And that's how I fucking felt. And
Yeah.
I feel like that towards James Cameron on a lot of different efforts because there's some things he does that's really fucking good. Like when he
Mhm.
made Aliens, he made a badass movie about kind of what the fuck, how are we supposed to defeat this enemy when we've
We
got all
won't.
the tech, all the funding, and yet we can't kill them all. And that was supposed to be a reflection of the Vietnam War. And then worse yet, he goes out and he fucking stabs he stabs the movie's efforts, he kind of bruises the fans by saying this movie's about the Vietnam War. And you have to fucking do some serious research before you can come off with at least a neutral feeling about it. Otherwise, you're butthurt and you're going, what the fuck? I just wanted to enjoy a movie, James. Stop making a goddamn political message out of every fucking thing.
But
But
as you can tell, if you go back and look at his bio, like I just did, because I didn't know he'd been married 5 times. I'm like, Jesus, that shows me. If I met a guy and he wanted to go out with me on a date, I wouldn't expect him to ever follow through with anything because he's already proven he can't. Okay, he's on his fifth wife. I mean, I don't want to be wife number six, so I wouldn't look him as that. So he can stick to something, but it's only going to be for a very short time. Like the time it takes to make a movie.
yeah, I love what Cotton Ministries said here. It's trauma bonding. It's always his entire dick resume is trauma bonding. That's
Yeah,
that's it, and I, I
that's
I feel
right.
sorry for him, but like, stop making movies about politics. Start making movies just to fucking make a fucking living and pay your mortgage note, you dumbass. And
Yeah,
don't open your mouth about politics, James.
I was
This movie
reading
here
on.
was cool. Go ahead. I'll shut up.
I'm sorry. I was just saying when you said that about the trauma thing, I was reading on. Was it shit? The one that we go to a lot, the website, Rotten Tomatoes. Is that it? Yeah.
Yeah, Rotten
There was
Tomatoes.
a lot of people on there that their number one complaint was he used to make good movies until he got obsessed with the Avatar stuff. It says once he got into that, he's
That's
gone.
a
He's over
green.
the top now.
That's a green utopia. Like I don't want to. I don't need to see space adventure version of fucking Dances with Wolves or Fern Gully. I don't
Yeah.
need any more of that. I think it's neat that he's making these movies about it. One of these days, whenever I can get the taste of politics out of my fucking mouth, I might actually fucking watch the rest of the movies. But I don't need to. And there's plenty of good directors out there that make fine films for fucking people to munch popcorn to. Thank you, Paul Rodriguez.
Yeah.
I don't need James Cameron like this. The last movie he did that I really fucking enjoyed is True Lies.
Mhm.
I've not enjoyed I've not enjoyed a single film since then. Although I did enjoy getting kicked out of the Titanic.
Well, see, I really didn't. I didn't even go see the Titanic at the movies. I waited till it was out, to rent.
Yeah, because you didn't have a girlfriend at the time that wanted a fucking love story with Leonardo
Well,
DiCaprio.
I don't really go for romance movies, and to me, that targeted completely as a romance movie.
It is a romance
Sisters
movie.
would all want to go see it. Now, see, this movie had romance in it, but it had action. It had adventure. It had a mystery. It had, and it had sci-fi. It had so much smashed into, an orb basically that you couldn't absorb all of it. This is a movie you have to watch multiple times just to get part of the story. You know what I mean? Because it's so packed with so much good stuff and such a great cast. I mean, he got the best people ever to do that because you had the best people for the sets, best people for costumes, best people for the art and design. The music in the movie didn't take you out of it; it kept you enthralled through the whole thing. The special effects people, I mean, everything. To me, it was just they did a masterful job at making it nonstop action and keeping you on edge the whole time. And Michael Biehn, I just loved him. He is such a good actor. He was so good at acting like a complete psycho, even with his eyes darting back and forth and his clenching his teeth, and and then you see the part where he's cutting himself under the table. He just did a good job, and I think the mustache did make him more
It makes him
psycho.
more, it makes him more sinister looking. But it's funny because he's a Navy SEAL. Like every Navy SEAL I've ever met or seen, they immediately go to like the ZZ Top look. They get facial fur everywhere, and they might keep it trimmed after it's exceeded 3 inches in length, like what the top of their hair should be for standard military. But all of these guys get fucking seriously like luxurious locks all over their fucking beard face, and their womb brim gets massive. Michael Biehn in this movie, he totally ran away from the atypical Navy SEAL look, and he goes back to like your standard atypical Navy quartermaster look, because he gets the fucking serious womb broom, which anybody that's on board a ship that's got a garrison Navy commander, which when I say garrison military commander, I mean non-wartime military commander, and those are political pieces of shit that they're more interested in making sure the hallways are clean and swept and all the paperwork's got the T's crossed and I's dotted. And they're not worried about winning a war. They're worried about looking good and playing politics. And he looks like a fucking quartermaster that you would find in the U.S. Navy. He doesn't really look like a Navy SEAL, even though he's got an impressive build. Most guys in the Navy are built like that until they're about 24. And then they realize, I've got a set job for life. And then they kind of let themselves go. It kind of happens.
Yeah, I
Well,
guess.
I mean, we have a lot of Navy guys that are out of regs. Just visit social media. So what you do is you've got this guy. He looked completely sociopathic with this womb brim. And I thought, man, he really didn't look like a Navy SEAL in this movie, but that's okay.
Well,
But
the way they were able to make him uh, go downhill, you know what I mean? Because he's straight, he looks prim, proper, cleaned up.
he's too squared away.
Yeah, I mean, at the very beginning, when the whole team gets brought in, and then they're in the thing for 8 hours where they have to decompress and stuff, he seems the same, straightforward, clean cut, like the other guys. Okay. But then as each day goes by, after you see him with his hand shaking, when no one happens to ever see it, it's only him. That whole thing, when that happens, you start to see him perspiring. At first it's only a little bit here and there on his brow and things like that. And then you start seeing his eyes darting, just little things that they were able to do a good job at showing you his slow progression of turning into a nut, a total loose cannon that has a nuclear warhead. It built the intensity. The intensity just went up and up and up through the thing. And then I love the guy with the rat. I can't remember what his name was in the movie. The
Hippie?
tech guy.
Hippie?
Yeah. When he uses the little probe basically to sneak and peek in the windows outside the facility.
He's a geek. He's
a
good geek.
Yeah, he's really, really good at being a snoob, whatever you want to call it, where, he just got to find out as much dirt on everything as he can and what they're up to behind the scenes. To me, I thought it was like a peeping Tom, the guy that's tweaking in the back, that kind of guy that you think of in the city. But he's like a real total egghead nerd. And I love the fact that he had the pet rat. A lot of people made fun of it. I remember when I first saw this and people were saying, that's so stupid. They would never let him have a rat on there. I go, why not? It's not a military facility. He's on a submersive thing underwater, a special crew that's specially trained, and he's their tech guy. I think they would, let him have a rat if they thought it was going to keep him happier while he was down there. So, to me, I thought it was totally believable that he would have a pet. And the fact that the one thing I hadn't noticed before that I noticed this time is if you did have a pet, whether it was a rat, a squirrel, a hamster or whatever, and some guy comes on the ship, he's only been there a day or whatever, and you know he's some kind of special seal or whatever, he takes your rat from you and shoves it in a cage and drowning it in front of you. I think he would have put up a little bit more of a fight when you're
Okay, did you look at the actor portraying Hippie? He didn't look like the type of guy that come across really with a good, right, strong right cross or Southern
no,
cross.
but he would still try to grab it. You know what I'm saying? I think he would have tried to grab the cage and take his rat back when he saw what he was doing to it.
I'm going to disagree. Like the
I
guy
mean,
just
if it
seemed.
was a puppy and they did that, you would have been tearing through that guy.
There's a difference between me and him. Like I don't sit in the fucking chair at the hotel.
Well,
I
I
mean, he
still
just
think I don't care how little you are, when it's your pet, something
yeah
you've had every single day and been taken care of, all of a sudden someone grabs it and sticks it in a bottle of water, basically,
yeah.
and you're watching it drown. He would have put up a little more of a.
The rat was scripted completely for the liquid oxygen scene, and I could see them doing something for that. But I could see like a mountain of paperwork being written, especially if it's United States Naval Service or the scientific branch of the U.S. Navy. I could see a mountain of paperwork, especially in '89. We weren't involved with Desert Storm quite yet, so we didn't have like the right mindset to go do things properly. But I could see like 5 or 6 requests, having to be filed up with various officers, various fucking authorities, and such. Uh,
I looked this up. It says the breathing fluid used in the film
or,
actually exists, but
yep,
it has only been thoroughly investigated in animals. Over the previous 20 years, it had been shown tested on several animals who survived. The rat survived unharmed.
yep,
It said that the production consultant uh, with Dr. Calvestra on the proper use of the breathing fluid. He held his breath inside below the surface of the large tank. He recalled that the worst moments were being towed with fluid rushing up from his nose and his eyes swelling up. So the one person that did try it. So it's never really been tested on humans.
no,
So all the stuff that he was saying, even though it seemed believable when you see Ed Harris performing it, because just like I started crying again when we were watching the scene where she drowns and he has to carry her lifeless body underwater and swim to try to bring her back to life, to resuscitate her. It was horrible because it was so believable to me. And his facial expressions and everything while she was supposed to be dying in front of him, and there's nothing he could do. And the fact that she was already talking about being freezing cold, and then when they did the facial shots and stuff, and it showed her lips blue and the blue around her eyes and everything, that was such a traumatizing scene for me. I was just crying. It was horrible to see her because she did such a good job at playing someone dead. You know what I mean?
well,
And,
she had they gave her the eye drops. They gave her some other things to help her disguise herself from looking like she was breathing.
yeah,
And then after the second take, like with the first take, it looked good, but Harris's arm was in front of the camera.
yeah,
And then they did a second take, and it was okay, but James Cameron kind of wanted to get a third shot because something just didn't fit right. And
mm-hmm.
she storms off the set screaming, "I'm not an animal! I'm not an animal!" And so while they're trying to calm her down, Gail Ann Hurd for the win goes over there, calms her down. Gail Ann Hurd currently is his wife.
Yeah.
This is, I think, that's his first wife. I'm not certain if it's first or second. You don't quote me on this, guys. Um, but Gail Ann Hurd calms down Mary Mastrantonio, and she gets her wits back about her. The whole time they're filming Ed Harris screaming, "Yeah, fight, fight, fight!" and he's beaten on a sack of sand.
Yeah.
And it was really good cinema, but that filming instance kind of encapsulates the entirety. If you read this movie, the making of, if you go into the making of The Abyss, nobody enjoyed themselves on this set
Yeah, it
at
was so
all.
that's what I think he wanted it that way. that's why I think it came across as the intense claustrophobia. Uh, I mean, nobody seemed, they were all on edge. And you
Mhm.
had to have them be that way for it to be as believable as it was, because I really felt, like I said, I felt like I had claustrophobia through the whole thing, because I just was like, felt like I was being squeezed, holding my breath, all these different things simply because of what I was watching on scene, on the screen. And it was very, very believable. I mean, they did a wonderful job. It said that the cast, it says, the actors played their scenes at 33 feet,
Mhm.
too shallow a depth for them to need decompression, and rarely stayed down for more than an hour at a time. Cameron and the 26-person underwater diving crew sank to 50 feet and stayed down for 5 hours at a time. To avoid decompression sickness, they would have to hang from hoses halfway up at the from the tank as long as 2 hours, breathing pure oxygen, so that they wouldn't get that stuff.
Can you read this statement from Mr. Flaty,
Hold
please?
on, yeah. A professional actress would have actually drowned herself at the scene. Oh, that's bullshit. No fucking way. A complete lack of commitment to the part. There's no fucking way.
I like the entire time like they're filming this movie. James Orson Scott Card is not there the whole time of filming, but he witnesses enough to where he has a relatively decent working relationship with James Cameron because Cameron and him discuss
Get
things.
your legs off. Or, oh, God,
What?
scared me. My daughter, Sandy, don't wait. Give me a second. My sister's here bothering me. She
Okay.
stabbed me in the shoulder with something. It scared me. Sorry.
It's the water from the abyss.
Oh, Sandy,
It's coming
come
in
on.
to see what's going on.
You scared the shit out of me.
Sandy, don't tease us. Put your face on camera, honey.
No, she don't
F
want to.
no, man. I've been cooking all morning.
She's made a quiche or something.
Oh, okay.
Over.
So,
It scared me. I'm sorry, guys. Go ahead.
so this entire film, like, it seems like a shit show when you read about it. And Orson Scott Card's there for a little bit discussing things with Cameron. He witnesses enough to see, like, oh my God, that guy's a slave driver. I would never want to be an actor or actress or anybody involving a cast on set. I don't want to ever be subjecting myself to having to navigate through that emotional brainwashing just so I can get a paycheck. Orson
Well,
Scott Card did not
like
want to be
I said,
involved.
you have to be the kind of person that wants to do this. Just like I said, when I first started, the very first thing I ever did, well, I'm not going to say it was a TV show, and I was a stand-in, and I didn't have it as bad as the rest of them. You have to sit for long periods of time and do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it's your turn, you got to get up there and stand. You got to move and stand and move and adjust to the lights and speak when they tell you to, so to make sure the sound is good. It's not very exciting. It's very boring, depending on what you're doing, right? So, but if you get to do a part where you get to have really cool costumes, like a periods in the 50s or 60s clothes and things like that, it depends on what your interests are. So, so someone working on The Walking Dead would be happy, especially if they're a zombie, to get to sit for 4 hours and get makeup and then wander around and do what they tell you, and then eat and do your breaks or whatever, and then fix your makeup and that kind of stuff. It just depends on what you're making. Now, a lead actor has lots of lines. They have different things they have to do. That's why you have stand-ins. That's why you have, body doubles, depending on what you're going to be doing in the movie. So it can be monotonous for people. Like, remember that one movie we reviewed with for the Waterworld, and people were bitching and moaning about the lead actor because he wanted certain things done a certain way, and other people were like going, oh, we don't want to deal with this guy.
Like an assistant director, he turned into the set director basically.
Yeah, so if you want the money, and a lot of the movie sets you get paid like per day, if you depending on what your job is, someone like a stand-in or someone who's doing makeup or whatever, or hair, depending on what scenes you've been hired for, and you get your sides and you get your little thing for the day of what you're going to be doing, and it's broke down. You can get the whole script, but you also get your sides, which are little bitty things broken down per scenes on who's got to be on set, and so that everybody can knows who everyone is and what your phone numbers are to make sure the assistants are there on time. There's a lot of technical stuff. That's why at the end of the movie, when you look, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people that are involved, because you have people that got to feed the people. You have people that do nothing but carry camera lenses around all day long, depending on if they're on crew 2 or the first crew. It's all broken down that way, and it takes a lot of work. And that's why you have to have a good director. If you have a director that's actually sitting there in their chair and saying, this is what I want to see, I don't like what I just saw, I want you to redo it, go back to your mark or whatever, that type of stuff. And this movie, to me, whether everyone liked it or not, from what I could see just watching this movie, the director was very hands-on.
Mm-hmm. I'll agree with that. I just
detail was like he was meticulous on what he expected everything to look like. And I guarantee that when they were filming, even the roving cameras, like through the walkways, when they were running from in front and from behind. So that scene, okay, let's say you have a tunnel that's 20 feet a set up just for them to run, to make it look like they're running because the water's coming after them and they got to stop, shut the door, and then run more, like that, or try to shut the door can't shut and they have to keep running, that type of thing. So what you do the scene and you have the actors running. Okay, either they're not wet or they're partially wet. So then you have people that take pictures of every actor before the scene. Then they do the scene and then they take pictures of them again, so that when they do the scene retakes, they're wearing the same shirt, their hair looks the same, they take photographs. It takes forever. People have no idea the amount of detail it goes into making this stuff.
Oh, this movie had so many missteps and so many problems during filmmaking.
Mm-hmm.
If you spend the time on IMDb itself and just read through the trivia, how many times it said almost drowned.
Yeah.
This film it was rife with problems. They had a lot of issues. They never tried to film like this before, and they were able to get filming done where they had the microphones in like the submersible suits for all the actors.
Uh-huh.
And they had little lights set up to properly illuminate the actors' faces, so you could see that. But then now a lot of times with like movies like Underwater, don't watch that movie, by the way. There's you can watch the ending on YouTube. It's far more entertaining. But Underwater kind of blinded the movie actors by having the lights be too prominent, and they blinded the poor actors that are trying to walk around on the surface of whatever they're walking on.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of movies do that when they have these suits, because they have these improperly fitting, improperly illuminated helmets for these poor actors, and they're stumbling around hoping they get it right. I need my lines to be done right, and then I can take this shit off. And that's all they're thinking throughout the 5 or 6 hours of that day's shoot.
Mm-hmm.
I need to make this look good, but I'm going to get blinded again when I put this damn helmet on, because it's a piece of shit.
But you got to remember too. Okay, let's say you have 4 actors that are going to be interacting underwater.
Oh God!
The scene, right?
You're talking about choreography.
Yeah, but you also have stunt doubles for each of them,
Mm-hmm.
and then the safety people.
Yeah, that's any other movie. This movie did not have that many stunt doubles in it. This movie,
yeah, it didn't. But what I'm trying to say is, this is what they tried to plan for. They tried to have, like, for the lead actors, the 2 main characters, they're going to have a stunt double for them.
Yeah, and they had stunt doubles for Michael Biehn.
They have to have training. So they also have to go through all the training, the safety procedures, and blah, blah, blah. Because what if, something goes wrong and they can't get to that person in time? That person needs to know what they need to do under duress. You see what I mean? So they try to do drills. They try to do all this stuff before the scenes to make sure everybody's prepped and ready. The oxygen levels have to be checked. I mean, there's so many details. So yeah, I can understand why it would be utter chaos in some things, just like what you saw what happened with Rust, right? Just because a few people played around with the guns and didn't make sure that everything was taken care of, someone died. Okay, when that should never have happened, because there's certain procedures set up that are supposed to be followed. And if you just have one person that says, I ain't gonna worry about it, you get run over by a train. I mean, get hit by a car, you drowned, you get electrocuted, or you get shot with a blank. You see, there's so many things that can happen that can be bad if the people don't do their jobs. And if an actress says, screw you, I'm not going to really drown for this movie, F you, and walks off set.
Yeah. You know, no paycheck for them.
Bad. That's right. You just don't get paid. Or you pay them and just get someone else to take her place.
Yeah.
So it just depends. It's just like the Crow, you know. It's, you know, things happen. Shit can happen if you don't do your job. So, and plus, if you're the safety guy on that set and too many people get hurt or too many people injured, you'll never get a job. You'll be only probably porn.
Did you know that Rust made it to release the movie?
Well, yeah, they're going to try to get their money back. The producers are going to push it every way they can. You know.
Oh my God.
So I won't go see it.
I was surprised. I was really surprised. I'm very surprised that movie made it out. I thought they would sweep it under the rug and just call it a loss.
Mm-mm.
That movie actually got released. I am very surprised.
Well, that happens nowadays when you got this many people that are investing in something and they expect something. And some of them actually believe, well, somebody died, so now we can make a little more money on it, which is sick, but that's a lot of sick people out there still want to make money off whatever they can. They don't care who got hurt. Just like that one movie where I think it was the Twilight. Was it Twilight Zone?
Twilight Zone?
Yeah, when the helicopter killed 3 people.
That's actually on the docket for December.
I thought we put that on there, but you know, that's a risk you take, and it says that in the paperwork when you're filling it out, whether you're going to take the risk to do that or whether you're going to show your breasts or you're going to show your naked ass or what you're willing to show. Yeah. Are you willing to do this or that, or are you willing to do this? You see, and if you say no, then the director still wants you bad enough that they'll, you know, give you a bump, you know.
I gotta agree with Bone. I'm wondering, like, I would like to watch the second DVD of that DVD box set. I want to see the deleted scenes.
Yeah, most people are going to buy it just for that, and you're going to probably be disappointed.
Yes, I mean it is a Baldwin film, and he hasn't made anything good since what, Mercury Rising.
I never really liked him in anything he's made.
I liked him in the one with Bruce Willis from like 1997, Mercury Rising. That was okay.
I never saw that one.
It's okay. Like the only person in that cast I like is Bruce Willis. That's it. Everyone else.
The only movie I think I've seen with the Baldwin that I liked was the ones with the youngest, and the Emilio Estevez movie with that other brother. Those brothers. He was the only. I only saw a couple movies with him, and I didn't really like Charlie Sheen that much. So you know, it's like.
I can't imagine you not liking Charlie Sheen.
I just thought he was a narcissistic pig. I'm real picky about that kind of stuff. Because, you know, there's plenty of movies to go watch with good actors that aren't assholes, you know. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to spend my hard-earned money on something when I know the person's like, You know how I feel about, that's how I feel about Tom Cruise movies. I don't really like him either as an actor because I think he's a narcissist.
Did you like Top Gun Maverick?
It was okay.
Okay.
But I liked the other actors.
Yeah, I'm turning into a fan of John Hamm. I just finished Landman, and he's in the first season of Landman, and his scenes are really well done. and I thought that he's one of the best supporting parts of that show. Knowing how my friends' wives are, the Ali Larder role grated
Mhm.
on my nerves so severely,
Yeah.
and I like I just like that movie caused like a mild bit of PTSD for Bruce. That's all I'm gonna say. Because there's some really good stuff in there, and there's some stuff in there that like just the shit that whenever they start focusing on Ali Larder and her daughter, you're like, oh my god, here's the shit show. And it's really good, don't get me wrong, but just expect like you're probably not going to enjoy those scenes as much as you like watching Billy Bob Thornton navigate the various perils he's got to go.
Hmm.
uh Very very good show, very accurate, very the only thing they really don't focus on a whole lot, they do show it, but they don't focus on the Midland high school football scene. They do show you a little bit of that because the daughter starts dating one of the kids from the local high school scene because she's like 17. So expect that. But it's a very well done show. It's probably the best that Taylor Sheridan's going to have for us until season 2 pops out. I'm not saying I'm a Taylor Sheridan fan in the least bit. I'm just saying that out of all the shows he's done, this is the one that will probably have the most lasting impact over time, I think. Okay,
Yeah.
back to the Abyss.
Well, the one thing I wanted to say is people were saying that a lot of people were complaining on the set because it was so hard to deal with everyone. Because you got to remember, just like I said, he wanted to keep that tension high, I believe, and the claustrophobic feeling that you get watching it because they're all in this enclosed space. Did you ever believe they weren't underwater when you were watching the movie?
The entire time I was watching this movie, my anxiety was tripping. Every
Okay.
time I've watched it with a decent surround system, you hear the creaks of everything, and the anxiety pops back up again.
Yeah.
If you've ever been
You did
underwater,
good.
yeah. If you've ever
Right.
been on a ship, even if it's not a submarine, if you've been on a ship and you've heard the whole creak, that's exactly like that's part of it. That's a very well done environmental storytelling at its finest. But
Yeah, the part where they're on the ship and they're going back and forth, and you can just see that everyone's green gills, basically.
yeah,
I thought they did a good job at those parts too. They seemed very believable. I've been on a couple of ships where I was in bed for 2 days until the patch started working, on my back of my neck, because I just not a good sea person. I don't have sea legs. I'll just say that.
it's okay. Even guys that are like out of college and officers in the U.S. Navy, uh, they if they don't have sea legs, guess what? They get to stay on ship and vomit all day. So
Well,
you gotta have an E1 or E2 follow them around and basically make sure that like, hey, you all right?
to
And
stay hydrated,
yeah,
that's another thing.
not just stay hydrated, but mainly stay on the weather decks and keep your eyes on the horizon because the horizon really doesn't change a whole lot. So that helps balance your internal sense of balance, and it this doesn't stop the vomiting, but it does slow it down. You're gonna the moment you go downstairs and go into the mess decks to eat, you're gonna smell all the vomit everybody else had. And if you're one of those types that vomits easily when you're at sea, you're gonna smell that and just go right there on the ladder where everybody else was trying to walk through, and now you're making a slip hazard, you asshole.
Well, like what Flady just said, he says he misses the sea because it relaxes him. Well, if I was able to go out on a little sailboat and not go out real far, I would be able to do that. Okay, or like a bass fishing boat, things like that. Even on the ocean, if you don't go out very far, you don't have the huge waves. It's
Mhm.
when you get way out there that makes it really really tough.
Just
Because I got to go on a catamaran and we were out there for 7 hours and it was wonderful.
I'm
Okay,
sorry.
I didn't get sick at all. So I was just saying, it just depends on what kind of ship you're on, whether it's going to be very relaxing or not. If you like the giant waves, you like the those Alaska fishermen that are catching crab and all that. I couldn't do it. That's why they deserve to make good money, and I'm willing to pay a little more money for a real crab that's been caught from out there, king crab and stuff like that, because I know what they go through to get those, and they deserve to be paid well. And, it's really hard to get good insurance when you do that type of work. But one of the reasons I wanted to read this thing that I found about the how hard it was to be on this set every day. It says, as production went on, the slow pace and daily mental and physical strain of filming began to wear on the cast and crew. And Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, is that how you pronounce her name?
I believe it is, but you're going to get ripped on by Warrior.
She said she remembered, we never started and finished any one scene in any one day. At one point, Cameron told the actors to relieve themselves in their wetsuits to save time between takes. While filming one of the many takes, she said her character's resuscitation scene which she was soaking wet, topless, and repeatedly being slapped and pounded on in the chest area, ran out of film, prompting her to storm off the set yelling, "We are not animals." And so I can totally understand when you have not just the crew, not just the her people around her, the actors, and which was 8 of them, right? When you have that many people standing over you, you're freezing cold, dripping wet, and you could tell because her nipples were hard, basically, and I don't think that was from being beat on the chest either. I think it was from being freezing cold.
Fucking cold as shit.
Yeah. So she's laying there, and she's the one that everybody's focusing on, and she's trying not to move. You got to remember, she's had to leave her eyes open and just sit there like that the whole time. Play dead. Playing dead is a lot harder than people believe. And when they were doing the filming, from underneath where you just see her neck and him pressing her chin like that when he's breathing for her, all that stuff, it was very, very realistic. And you got to remember, she was doing that over and over and over again. And you're wet. So when you wear wet clothes, wet shoes, all that stuff wet, day after day, what starts to happen to your skin?
It hurts. Her element.
It dribbles and your skin starts to shed. Okay. Yeah. So it's painful. And that's not just her. That's not just the actors. That's all the people working on set. So that was a lot of people that were having a really hard time. And it does wear on you. Just sitting in a holding tent for 6 hours to 8 hours a day, doing a 13-week show. Okay. That's wearing, and that it's very boring, just trying to stay stimulated and prepared and ready to go on set every time you need to get up and down, up and down, and up and down, and drink, go to the bathroom as fast as you can, come back, do all those things and stay in your costume or whatever you have to be wearing. Your colors is what they call for a person to stand in. But you just don't know. You just don't know how long it's going to take, because the director has to have what he needs to feel like he can have that edited and have the scene he wants, that he thinks from beginning to end, he's got it. But just like I was saying a while ago, when they're doing the scenes, just the hall scenes where they're running through those narrow ways. Now, it may be the same pieces of walkway that they're going through over and over again when they're above, in the ship. Okay. Well, the thing is, they have to film the camera guy being pulled on it's usually a seat, and it's like like you'd see a roller coaster ride on. They have it set up in the hallway with all the cables and stuff. And then if they don't want the cables to be seen, or they're going to have the feet in the scene, they have to cover all the cables to make the floor look back normal again. And then you have them being pulled backward, the cameraman, while he's filming, and then they have to run and not trip over any of the stuff that's in the way, see, and do the best they can. Do that, and then they film it from the behind them. Okay, then they have to edit together, and they might have to do it 10 times, the same scene, from the front, from the back, the same scene, from the front, from the back, from the front, from the back, and reset every time.
All the time.
That's a lot of
shot.
Every single shot. It's a pain in the ass. People don't realize. And that's what I'm saying. She's wet. She's cold. She's getting yelled at. She's being beaten, slapped, all this different stuff. But with all these people looking at her tits, it's very hard, a lot harder than people believe. Even the bimbo that they got in Hot Tub Time Machine to just flash her tits. Okay. he had to do the scene over a certain amount of times to get everybody's facial expressions, and it's just a lot of work, even for a comedy. So I can see the frustration. As much detail as we got to absorb as a viewer of a movie, sitting in the scene looking up, you just have to imagine the people that are on the set, the prop people, every detail that they're doing is amazing. And to make sure that when they did the close-up scenes of her face, of her dying or being dead, lifeless, they every time they had to retake it, if they put anything on her face, the mask, they have to go and fix that makeup to make it look like she did the first time they filmed it. See what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's why they take so many pictures. You got a set photographer, you've got makeup people, you've got hair people, you've got people for the props, you got people to make sure your clothes look just like they're supposed to, the costume people. I mean, it's just, you guys just wouldn't believe it if you ever are anywhere and they're filming, stop and watch for a while and watch what the people, not just the actors, but all the other people involved, just making that scene that you never see these people, but you see their names at the end. Because if it wasn't for them, you wouldn't have a wonderful film that gets put together like this one, even though it was a real pain in the ass. But this is something people years and years from now are still going to enjoy and get to watch if they want to watch a real good action, sci-fi, romance, whatever you want to put in there.
And there's a lot of choices from that year, mm-hmm. because in 1989, the first movie to come out with the themes of underwater monster films was Deep Star 6. Then we had The Abyss, and then Leviathan, The Evil Below, The Lords of the Deep, and The Rift, otherwise known as The Endless Descent. Mm-hmm. And the only movie to make a ripple in the fucking box office was The Abyss. The other 6 movies or 5 movies I just rattled off, mm-hmm. just completely bombed. They tanked. They're in a warehouse on VHS in Alabama.
Yeah.
And they're not being watched right now. It
was like in second place its first opening weekend.
It didn't even hit number 1. This movie is the only one of Cameron's films that was not a box office leader its first release, its first weekend out. Mm-hmm. This movie, it kind of didn't even advertise itself right, because it didn't, well, one, they just edited out like 40 minutes of the movie. And then secondly, they were doing some things, because this is the year of 1989. Let's go back to 89, says Bruce. So what was out that year? Well, in August, there was a release of Batman. And then we had Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. And you have a bunch of other really good films that came out that same year. And this movie kind of got lost in the shuffle. I just said a James Cameron action adventure movie got lost in the shuffle of 1989. That mm-hmm. movie, there's only 2 years that I can think of that are better than that. And that's 84. And that's probably 86, though. Bear would probably say 83 was a better year than that. But 84 and 82, I mean, the 80s are such a strong golden age for film fanatics, for modern film fanatics, that you have a movie like The Abyss, which comes out in 89, and it doesn't even smash completely at the box office. It wasn't even given, because of that, it was never given a Blu-ray release until the 2020s. A Blu-ray release. The Laserdisc version of it was released initially, but the Blu-ray,
a lot of people spent a lot of money making the laser discs, the big, what was it? What, they big square things?
No, there was a giant, it looked like an LP. It looked like a fucking
like a record player. Because I remember my dad loved those damn things, and my mother was like, she hated it. She said, these are so big and cumbersome. It's just a pain in the ass, is what my mom said. And she goes, I hope these don't catch on. That's what I remember my mom said, because my dad goes, these are going to be huge. My dad just thought they were so high tech and everything. I just remember my dad talking about them.
Well, the problem that you have is that back then, the only people that were sucking a dick at the Laserdisc industry was Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert, because they were say like, oh, well, when you get this giant laser disc, you can actually listen to the director commentary, or you can listen to the score of the movie, independent of the rest of the film's audio. And they kept on talking about Laserdisc. So all these film gurus and these guys that had man caves before man caves were a thing, they would build these expensive rooms on their house that was worth over $4.5 million. And they have a media room where you could go watch a Laserdisc movie. And within 5 fucking years, the DVD player was out, and the DVD opened up the film guru mindset to regular people, which I'm so thankful for because I'm in that grouping of blue collar men and women that are happy not having to reach above $250,000 a year for fucking income.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll never be able to enjoy myself. But this movie is so good with showing you the various ills and problems of underwater life just on the film
And
of
we haven't
itself.
even now at 2025, we barely scratched the bottom. You know what I mean? We still are finding unknown weird things down below because of the crushing depth. You know, everything just turns into a imploded can. You know, basically,
Yeah.
because nobody can get down there, and I love that. I love the fact that we have an unexplored areas on our planet that people cannot get to, and hopefully it'll be a long, long time before they can ever do that. Because once that happens, that's when I think the beginning of the end of the earth is going to happen. Because there's some things that we're not supposed to mess with. I really believe that. But I was really, really impressed with Ed Harris the first time I saw this, because I never thought I would ever think a bald guy was cute until I saw him in this movie. I was like, dang, you know, he's hot. Especially when you saw him in that one space looking outfit, and he had that ring around his neck, but he just had his head out, and his beautiful eyes, you know, you got to see that, and his beautiful smile. After seeing him in this movie is when I started thinking maybe I can give guys with no hair a second glance, because I started looking at them differently, because I never thought about men wanting to shave their head unless they were in the military. And I always thought, I still think that men in uniform are the most attractive to me for some reason. Maybe it's because I'm a military brat, so I grew up watching them, you know, all the different branches of the service and stuff. But I never really thought about that until I saw him in this movie, and he was so macho yet romantic. I don't know. I can't explain it. So I guess it was just it came out at the right time in my life to make me look twice at bald guys. So I thought it was pretty good. But yeah, the movie business is not as easy as it is for some people. Apparently think that it's all like, woohoo, look at me, I'm a star, and it's just a snap and it's done or something. I don't know. But real movies that take real action, real props, real stuff, and you want it to be a good movie, it's got a lot of shit going on.
Mm-hmm. I just didn't think that this movie had as much shit as what it had until I started delving into it last week.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh my God.
But that's why it was so good.
That's
why it's so.
Hold on. I don't think it's so good because I think it's so good because the script is good and the
actor. But that's what I'm saying. It takes all of it. Just like I said, when you get a good director, you get good person that's going to get your actors for you. You have good screenwriter, and you have the people that are going to do the special effects, and then you have all the other details, you know, the scenes, all that. When you got all those people that all want to see a success, and they all want to have their name up there, you know what I'm saying? Because I did kick ass on this, and I did kick ass on that, and I did kick ass on, and everybody did that, and they had that attitude. They've been huge hits. Okay. Mm-hmm. But like this, it says at 1990 Academy Awards, The Abyss won the Academy Award for Best Visual Effects. I can see why.
Yeah, that's easy to see.
Yeah,
that was an award for script because the theatrical release I feel is a very weak film. I hate. God, I hate saying that.
And what did you say during the movie? You kept saying, I can't believe that Ed Harris didn't win an Academy Award. Neither can I.
Yeah,
that was the freaking best job I've ever seen by Ed Harris.
Well, it's not the fact that the script was so good or the theatrical release is so good.
Everything about his character.
No, it's not just that. It's the fact the fucker was in good enough shape to be filmed swimming underwater as hard as he did, breathing, quote unquote, breathing that fluid, which he was not. He was holding his fucking breath, trying to pantomime all the things he's doing.
Yeah, but he looked like he
And
was.
he looked like he was, and he's doing so good in this movie, but yet the final fucking act of the film, the theatrical release for me, absolutely tanks it. And if we ever do review the special version, the
Mhm.
director's cut, you're going to see a market release difference of about 25 points
Well,
because
I
the
would
end
love
of
to
this
see it then,
movie,
because this is the only version I've ever seen.
the end of this movie is an absolute, like the director, the theatrical release for me is a dumpster fire. And the end of this movie, you have like a part where Ed Harris disappears and he has an alien, about four aliens in front of him, and he's talking to him with whatever he's got going on. Maybe he's doing thought speech or whatever. But then the movie shows the topside people. Hey, there's something coming up from the ocean floor, and then you see this gigantic disc from down below make all the ships elevate because they're resting on the bottom. Their ships keels are resting on this fucking UFO, submersible UFO that's
Yeah,
been there for years. And, then here comes Ed Harris sauntering out of the fucking swimway that he went down initially. And
yeah.
he's walking out like all big smile and shit, no bends whatsoever. Okay, that's cool. That's fine. I'm willing to accept this as sci fi and fantasy.
Hmm.
But then you watch the special version is crazy. And
I
it
haven't seen
really,
that.
okay, well, we'll have to do that because this movie for me barely rates a 70
Oh,
because the last half hour of it
then
comes
I'm gonna love the other one then.
you're
It makes
you
it better because I think it's way better than that.
you I get pissed when I watch this. When I see shit like this and I see directors go to a studio saying your movie's too long, your special effects ridden adventure movie is absolutely unacceptable and we need to pare it down. I mean, that's one of the reasons why the Dune movie by David Lynch only rated like an 84. If they would have gone a little harder on the script for the post Muad'Dib stuff, and he would have actually focused for an extra like 90 minutes of
Hmm.
what Paul Atreides was like whenever he was ransacking every fucking Imperial asset on
Yeah.
Arrakis, if they would have done that, that movie would have been a 94 to 97. Easy. It might have even beaten my favorite movie of all time. I don't know. We don't have that movie. We don't have that reality in front of us. But this movie here, we have the reality where if you want to watch the special edition of The Abyss, it's out there. And there's some serious context that's missing in the theatrical release that is a fucking tragedy. And this is one of those situations where Bruce is going to just completely tank the review for the movie. I'm barely giving it 70 because of I've seen better and I saw the special edition. I've seen it so many times that watching
Can
this
you give your
movie,
rating?
what?
Can you do it this way for me so I can see what
Yeah,
you
yeah,
what this is
yeah.
what I'm going to do. When you give your rating, I want you to give your rating the very first time you saw it at the movies
Okay,
compared to the version the director got to. If you
okay.
what
If we're
you
going to travel back to 1989 and we're going to pretend that Bruce is coming out of the theater with my dad in Springfield, Illinois, and
hmm
my dad's like, "How'd you like that film?" I said, "Something wasn't right. Like the end happened, but I don't feel happy. Like I know like they're going to be okay, but I don't know what happened because the aliens were there. They gave him breathing room, and then he's walking out of the giant alien thing, and that's it. And that was me at age 14. Like I knew at age 14 this movie had a serious set of choppers taken to the film. Like what was missing? And I had no idea till like 1990, what was that? 97? That was
hmm
when I got my hands on a special edition DVD. And I was just like, motherfucker. And I took that after I watched that movie the next weekend, I took it over to my mom and dad's house because I was living with my friend Cecil at the time.
yeah.
And we watched that
Your dad
movie.
got to watch it with you.
I had my dad and mom watch it with me, and mom had seen it before because she watched it on DVD or on
Mhm.
VHS.
Yeah.
And so we sat down and watched it. And I said, this is a different movie than what we watched. This is a much better film than what we watched. And I wouldn't shut up about that. And I sat down, I watched it with mom and dad, and dad's like, I'm kind of upset. I said, me too. Like all these years, we thought that original theatrical release was what we were supposed to see. But now, what other stuff is missing from every Cameron movie that's out there? And then finally, I got a chance to see the Aliens director's cut, which I liked a lot better. Then I got to see the Terminator 2. What?
I haven't seen the Aliens. I've only
All
seen.
right, fine. We'll fucking set up the goddamn schedule to where we have Aliens director's cut, fucking Abyss special edition, the fucking Terminator 2 special edition, because
I
those
haven't seen any
movies
of them.
are head and shoulders above anything that the studio is allowed to get released in those summer times, because they wanted a summertime blockbuster, and therefore they give the normies barely a movie that they can comprehend instead of going into more detail as to why things happen.
So
Is
do
it
you
really
think
political?
Avatar is the same way?
What?
Avatar, do you think it's the same?
I don't give a shit about Avatar.
Oh.
I
I
give
just wonder
a fuck.
if it's better.
I look at Avatar. I would rather watch A Knight's Tale than Avatar. And the thought of A Knight's Tale for me is like vomit inducing. But I'll watch it just to make you happy, so I never have to watch Avatar, because I fucking don't like a movie that initially it's advertised as an action fantasy medieval Renaissance film, and then when I sit down to watch it, it's a musical, and I walk out of the fucking theater. I'm out. Fuck it. But
Well, what I wanted to
so I
say,
never have to watch Avatar again.
I wanted to add the fact that also the movie didn't win the Academy Awards for these, but it was nominated for Best Art Direction.
This movie here?
Set direction or decoration, Best Cinematography, Best Sound. It's nominated for all of those.
Yeah, I
didn't win.
Can imagine.
It was nominated.
This movie.
You're right. If they had put the original version out, which I haven't seen, so I can't really judge on it, maybe this movie would have raked in a shit ton of Academy Awards.
Yeah, I would. I would love to watch that version of it with you, knowing what I know just now that we've revealed in the last 6 minutes. Yeah, this movie is completely cut. Like it feels like there's something seriously cut out of the film, and it once you see the special edition, you're like, damn it, I've seen that movie 20 times. I love that movie, but now there's a whole new fucking 30 or 40 minutes of unreleased material that I got to watch, and it kind of pisses me off. And the thing is, the studios always say, well, it's to help cut the movie down so people can enjoy themselves and then go about the rest of their day, because who wants to spend 3.5 hours in a movie theater watching a movie? And us fucking Lord of the Rings fans are like, you motherfucker, you sell me a 12-hour time where I sit in a goddamn theater watching all 3 special editions of Lord of the Rings, and I'll be able to hand over a fucking $100. Feed me like a goddamn hobbit. I want 11.
Have they done that? Have they ever done a special thing where you can go see all 3 movies?
Okay, Janet, I'm going to talk to you about this thing called the Draft House.
Never.
Sorry,
audience. Not where I live.
Okay, there's a theater chain called the Draft House. Mm-hmm. And before every movie that you go see at the Draft House, the kids that are there running the show, they kind of go over the internet trying to look for stuff that kind of helps you out and get you in the frame of mind to where you can enjoy this movie you're going to watch. So,
hey, stop! You scare me.
It's
I'm trying to read.
This is what's so funny about it. You can't turn it off.
You watch these movies before the Draft House, and they show you like the kind of like what happened before. If you're watching a sequel, they kind of go back and they give you 10 minutes of what happened before. Then they show you the toys that were based around the movie that you're going to watch. So if you're going to see a Marvel Comics movie, you're going to see a bunch of stuff about Stan Lee, about the media surrounding this. If it's Spider-Man, you're going to see some clips from the Amazing Spider-Man and Spider-Friends. Yeah. And you get to soak your dick for 45 minutes or 25 minutes, somewhere around there, and get into the entirety of what you're getting into. You're going to watch a movie, but you're going to be dipped in the universe first before it even begins, because that's what the Draft House does. I fucking love it. I love what Sandy just did to you.
I know she's so mean. That's what I said. She does it. She waits until she knows that I don't know, and I can't.
You're engrossed. You can't turn back because you got to face us.
Yeah, she stuck me right here behind my ear with that stupid thing, and she probably used every little bit of saran wrap I had in my kitchen to make that.
So you go watch a movie at the Draft House, or you don't go watch a movie at the theaters at all. That's just how I am. And I know that the Draft House is woke as fuck. The fucking San Antonio Draft House has a fucking pride flag on the goddamn Twitter profile page. So I know that we're not going to agree politically, but they release some good movies, and they do scour the web for good stuff. So before you go see any film that at the Draft House, they fucking dip you in the universe of this movie to get your head right. And that's exactly what I want when I go to a movie theater. I want to forget that I'm in a room that I would disagree with 90% of these people political fucking statements. I want to go be entertained. That's why I pay $20 to go see a movie. And therefore, whenever you go see these films at the Draft House, they do their best to make sure that you're in the headspace to enjoy the film. And I love that. Even with a crappy movie like The Void, which I absolutely enjoyed to pieces, the Void prequel or the Void prelude, before the movie started, they started showing us stuff from David Lynch films and Rob Bottin's work on The Thing and all the stuff that makes practical effects fun and great for us moviegoers. And then they show you the movie. And it was wonderful. It was an absolute joy to see a crappy movie on a very shoestring budget with
they do stuff like that at Comic-Cons, right?
Why would I go to Comic-Con when I could spend $20 at fucking...
No, I know, but what I mean is, that's why I go and I look at the websites and I scour who's going to be there, what they're going to be doing, and I always pay for the extra stuff, not just walking through to get, buy stuff and get autographs. That's not what I'm interested in. I like to go to all the little technical things.
Yeah, and I think we are a lot alike. I think we're a lot alike on that.
That shit. So that's why I go by myself, because my daughter will go and she's like, "Oh, my feet hurt. I'm wearing this, and I don't want to do this, and I want to be in the costume thing. I want to do all that stuff." That's why I pay for like the whole weekend thing, so I can go and just be a nerd and get to see how things are made, what inspired them to do certain things. So if you guys want that type of detail, when you see anything coming to your local area or near where you can go and stay with your mom or stay at your uncle's house or your cousins and go to a con, look and see what they have to offer, because they still do stuff like that for movies, big movies. You can go and get the actors that were in the movie are there. They might be doing a presentation the day before, and you pay for a package and get to get all this different stuff on top of the rest of the wonderful stuff that's going on at your movie con or whatever it is, at your horror con, because if you're into horror movies, they do the same thing. It's worth it. If you like this type of stuff, that's what you should do. And that's what I tell people. That's why I save my money. That's what kind of stuff. I want the interactive stuff when I want to do something. So that's why I said what you were talking about sounds like the same stuff that I'm into when I go to these cons, because that's what I love.
So this movie, I mean, the Abyss, it had a lot of things that were really well thought out about it. Like initially they got Al Giddings. He had worked on a movie back in the 70s called The Deep, which is a kind of a suspense horror film about divers and sharks.
Yeah, I think I saw that one.
And it's okay. It's only good watching once, in my opinion. Al Giddings was part of the principal photography and set design and actor preservation efforts. But Al was kind of deaf, and when they started working with him, they were trying to explain to him something when they had their suits on, and Al couldn't hear shit because he's got tinnitus. So eventually what happened was a battery, and then they fired Al and the assistant director. I mean, this movie has, if you read the IMDb, just read the trivia portion of it, and just count how many times you see
someone
almost drowned. It's like watching 2020 to 2025 and hearing the words "died suddenly." Have a shot every time you
And
say it.
that was they, and believe me, from all the stuff that they tried to do, like this, it says here, the cast and crew trained for underwater diving for
Mm-hmm.
1 week in the Cayman Islands.
Mhm.
This was necessary because 40% of all live action principal photography took place underwater.
Yep.
Furthermore, Cameron's production company had to design and build experimental equipment and develop a state-of-the-art communication system that allowed the director to talk underwater to the actors and dialogue to be recorded directly into tape for the first time. See, there was a lot of first-time things. This movie and everything he went through, because it was a passion since he was 17, opened the door to so many other movies. Look how many movies we have now have to do with underwater and in caves with water, you know, and all these different things that you wouldn't even still be seeing because of movies like this one and Jaws.
Yeah.
They both did things that had never been done on their sets, and people whined and complained and griped and whatever, but they all got paid. And if they didn't like it, they just leave, and someone else would have to be brought in to do it. But the thing is, if it's not for somebody's vision, like this director, the director of Jaws, and a few others, like The Thing, they were inspired by something and they wanted to see their version come to life on screen, and they did everything they could to do that. And they had people involved in making the movies with them, you know, like their creature makers. The actors wanted to see that vision come to life. That, remember the part in The Thing with all the dogs,
Mhm.
okay? And they had to be able to do this stuff without actually hurting any dogs. Okay. But look what a good job they did at making it believable by having good trained dogs that chew on the fence and do all the different things, howl on cue and jump up and down like they were in fear. You know, even when they're shooting them with that gooey stuff, you know, just to make it look like the creature's trying to spray some stuff on them to take them over. All that, the details that they went to for you and I to watch and love it, okay, open doors for other creature makers and other underwater filmers and other, you know, how are we going to do this? How are we going to do that? It opens minds. And if you don't have people inspired by watching it saying, oh my God, that was the most exciting thing I've ever seen, I want to do that when I grow up. You see what I mean?
Mhm.
You won't have new life in movies in the future if we don't have these types of movies, even though there was a lot of bad things that happened because it was a first time, just like Waterworld. I didn't love Waterworld as much as I love this movie. Okay. Not near as much, but it was a good movie to some degree. But most of the problems that I felt that came with Waterworld was because of narcissistic actors that think that they should have everything they want when they're in a movie. And I don't,
asked for.
but I thought that this movie was just awesome. I just love this movie. And if you are saying that the other version of it is even better than this, then I'm probably it's probably gonna be up there with Tombstone
So
and a few others for me then.
yeah, this version here of the movie, it's okay,
Mhm.
but I would rather not watch this version of the movie. And I'm glad we had this discussion today, because there's a lot of films that I really like, but I only watch the special edition versions nowadays because I'm a spoiled dickhead, and I'm okay being a spoiled
Apparently.
dickhead. I'm great with being a spoiled dickhead. I mean, look at my goddamn desk here. I have over $4,000 of miniatures and paints in front of me. Okay, don't get on me about me being a fucking pauper on this shit. Like, no, this is where I blow my money. And I want to have a game to where whenever I run a game, I can prop out any fucking miniature I need, and I can impress my players that much with
Mhm.
either a decent paint job or just volume of monsters and experience points that's coming for them on the hoof. And they got to figure out how they're going to defeat this issue. And I love that. And I think every good game master wants to be a James Cameron, not exactly a John Carpenter, but a James Cameron, because James Cameron is kind of like that hard charging piece of shit director that will force you to do things that you really didn't think about when you were making your SAG card application.
Yeah.
And here I am with a bunch of players in my D&D game or my Pathfinder game or my cobbled together game, and I'm making them do stuff like having to decide, how many of these elven babies are we going to let die, before we can rescue them from the clutches of Sir Bad Sir Lot
Yeah.
or something. And I want to give, as a GM, I want to give the audience and the players fear. And James Cameron gave his actors quite the scare. And if you ever listen to the commentary track of Terminator 2, he does a lot of stuff in that movie that is really just like it wouldn't be done today. You would not have in 2025 a helicopter zooming under an overpass in 2025 Los Angeles. That would not fucking happen. But they were able to do stuff.
CGI now.
What?
They
They
can
would do,
use
they would do
CGI now.
CGI. They would do CGI, but they would miss things because they always do. CGI is not perfect. When you get a shot like that,
I can tell you right now,
what?
I don't know how many actors today that would love to put that they were in a James Cameron film on their resume.
I mean, a hell of a lot more actors would rather be in a James Cameron movie than a John Landis movie. It's
But
just
what I'm saying is when you get that big, because you're that good of a director, because you make good movies that people want to watch over and over again, every actor wants to be in their movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Just a cop or a streetwalker performance or whatever it is. It doesn't matter how small your acting part is. You're in that movie with that director's name on it, and you can put that on your resume. I'm telling you that a director that comes out young and is working hard and he's working his way up or whatever, once he gets that one hit film and then he can do it again and again more than 3 times, that's a well-known director that people want to be to work with,
affiliated with. You want to be affiliated with James Cameron.
You want to have somebody like that, even if you're just a makeup person, or you just say you're a hairdresser or a costumer or a prop person, any of those things, you are putting in your resumes. I mean, you're like putting them out there to try.
I made an error. I apologize. I was just informed that not every dungeon master nowadays in 2025 wants to be James Cameron at the table. The reason why I'm being informed of this is that Daggerheart was a multi-million-dollar Kickstarter, and the starter adventure for that puts players in a friendly dungeon with friendly monsters and chain restaurants. So,
really?
Yeah, it sounds like a gay amusement park ride.
Is there one in Vegas?
No.
Oh,
No.
I'm going to Vegas at the end of the month. I would love to go. I'd do that. I'd go to a place like that.
No. This is an RPG that has horribly thought starter adventure, where instead of like going off and saving the princess or rescuing the farm kid, you go into a dungeon filled with friendly monsters and chain restaurants. Where's the fucking excitement? Where's the danger? Where's the risk in that? This sounds like, of course, this would be the blue hair fucking tribe of gamers coming out to ruin the fucking hobby. We let the cultural termites in there and they ruin the hobby. I'm so sorry. Old school dungeon masters want to be James Cameron. They want to be Steven Spielberg. They kind of want to be John Landis. And
They want to
force their
players.
we want to force our players in uncomfortable situations to where we can have a genuine emotional reaction at the table, like what you would have on the set of a movie. We want to be Walter Hill. We want to be Ridley Scott, where you got the guy, you're pulling him on the kitchen table, trying to figure out why is he spasming out like this, and then the little creature burst out of their chest, and you watch your player as she vomits all over your dungeon master screen as the alien takes off to the kitchen. Yeah. I want that. I'm not going to say I don't want that. I do want that. I had 3 players vomit. In 2017, I was running a game. Called the Slumbering Tsar Saga, and I had 3 players during the middle of the description of the camp. You can ask Chris about this, because there were 3 people that vomited during that game because I was describing things to the point where smell was getting involved, and they were unable to contain.
You made me gag a few times, and I said, I can't deal with that. I'm gonna have to turn off my sound for a little while.
Okay. But it was good, and I think most DMs want to do that. But anyway, back to the abyss. I'm sorry, we
It's
can go
okay.
off topic because it's
I
more.
want to answer what Papa Cotton was saying. He said, go to the House of Blues while I'm there. So yeah, I have to get online and see who's going to be where. Because if you've gone to the Vegas a lot, Papa Cotton? Because I know I've been so many times that I go to the Coca-Cola factory on the Strip, and you go in and you look at what tickets they have, because any ticket, if you buy a ticket there for that night, that's what I try to do, is I buy my tickets there, and then I go to the show that evening, and I make sure everything's ready so I can go. Or depending on what it is I want to do, you can get it for 50% off. And you can get like really, really good seats, like right next to the stage and stuff like that, depending on who you want to go see. So that's how I got my tickets when I went to the Star Trek experience first few times. So yeah, I could go and spend all day, 7 hours, 8 hours at the Star Trek experience. So that's just to let you know what kind of
I
person.
could probably enjoy myself there.
Oh, it was awesome. I just love it. I just love Vegas.
I wouldn't like Comic Con per se. I'm pretty certain, because like only 1/3 of Comic Con would probably appeal to me. Like there's certain movies I want to see. I don't want to watch a Twilight film. Comic Con did advertise for Twilight a little bit back in 2008 and 2011, I think. And then they're like, the Marvel films haven't interested me since Infinity War. That was the last one I wanted to see, because it was the one where Thanos would definitely win.
But
And
see, when I go, I look for like old movies, like let's say like one of these movies that we review.
Mhm.
And I would see if there's going to be an actor to be there. And then I would make sure I put them on my list, and I'd go see them. I'd get an autograph picture, and I get some talk to them about different things, ask them questions. So I make notes, and take them with me.
This is not a movie. This is not a movie that you're going to get a smile out of the actors when you shake their hand. You're 30 years outside of watching.
It doesn't matter, because they're still there. You still can go see good actors that are interactive. I went and saw. I've got so many. I can't even say them all. But what I try to tell people is, if you love this, look for those. Those are the people that you want to go see, because they're older now and stuff like that. But the thing is that you can get a picture from when the movie came out, and then get it autographed, and they can write something special to you. You can put tickets. Let's say, I still have tickets. Like, I saved tickets from movies I went to. So let's say I got tickets from when I went and saw, I'll just say, I don't know, I'm kind of thinking Ghostbusters the first time, right? And I saved my tickets. Then I get to go to the House of Blues, and I get to meet Dan Aykroyd or something like that. And then I also go to a con, and I go to the get my picture in front of the Ghostbusters thing, right? Then I go meet somebody that had something to do with the comic book or whatever, and I get all the autographs. And guess what? I get a big frame, and I frame all my stuff in it, and it's Ghostbusters.
Okay.
I'm
just saying that, like, if you go to a convention right now in 2025, and you go to the members of this cast, if you go to Mary Mastrantonio, if you go to
she probably wouldn't do it. If she hated it so much, she wouldn't be doing anything to relate for this movie.
She won't. And Ed Harris kind of feels the same way. The amount of shit they went through to make this movie, like, they enjoyed cashing that check. They do not like talking about this movie, because they get this anger and bile in their throat. And I don't think you could actually talk to them about this at a Comic-Con. You could talk to them about their new.
If they're on a Comic-Con is what I'm trying to say. If you go to a movie con or whatever, and you get the poster and you read it, okay, and it'll tell you who the stars are. Like, let's say I went and saw. I got to meet Christopher Lloyd, right? This last time I got his autograph on my Federation manual, right, of planets. And I was dressed as an Endorian and all that stuff, and I went. But he was there specifically to sign autographs for stuff, Star Trek, and Back to the Future. And he had signs up for it. So if he doesn't want to talk about that movie, then he won't be there promoting that movie. That's what I'm trying to say. So if you go and it's this movie or another movie that you liked, like Terminator, and there's somebody from there, they're going to talk to you about that movie, and they're going to let you ask them questions about it, what it was like to work on that movie. You get a certain amount, a little bit of time with that person, and they will talk to you about it, and they're not going to be saying, "I hate the movie." You know, they're not going to be there promoting something
They hate it now.
if they hated it.
But
So
you're
what
not
I'm saying
you're
is
not going to see people talk about this film that often.
maybe
Like,
not, but keep looking.
This is a movie that like isn't talked about much on YouTube. It's not talked about nearly enough. It's a sleeper hit.
I
A lot of
love
people
I
really
still
like it. A lot of people really like this film, but it's a sleeper hit. It's not the most well thought of Cameron's films. A lot of the actors that were involved with it still talk shit about it to this day, and therefore, uh, it's not well thought of. Now, I do like the movie. I'm giving it a score of 70 because that's better than
Did you
average.
go to the Rotten Tomatoes website?
No,
Could you do that? And let's see what the some of the audience people said about that movie. I'd
okay.
like to see, because remember, I like to do that today. Like if I'm going to go see something that, let's say, came out a couple years ago, and I want to, it's coming to the, the small theater where I can go actually sit and eat popcorn.
IMDb only gives it a 7.5.
Okay, but see what Rotten Tomatoes, the people, not
The audience score.
yeah,
Okay.
the audience score. I want to see what the audience score is on there.
Right, here we go. Hold on.
I trust them.
I don't.
I trust people.
I trust me.
I trust me.
Okay.
So you see, 83. That is where I would most likely believe that.
Okay.
Because I love this movie, but I haven't read any of the other stuff, and I have not seen the other versions of it. So that's a believable. To me, I judge a lot of stuff by Rotten Tomatoes simply because it's other people like me that just went to see the movie or wanted to go see it at the movies, and they did, and they had a good time when they went. You know what I mean? And then they're willing to write down what they thought. Now, if I went and I saw a movie and I thought it was total shit, like that one movie I said I never want to watch.
Willy's Wonderland?
Okay, now I would go there. I hated that movie so much just after 15 minutes that I would go and leave the thing saying, do not waste one penny on this movie. And I'd be willing to do that to save someone else from the headache that I still get from it, just thinking about the small amount of the movie that I've seen. So, see, when you care enough for other people to get a good chance to say,
Sure.
oh, don't waste your money.
Okay.
Just like you would say, if I were you, I'd go there and I'd put on there, if you want to see this movie, don't waste your money watching the theater version. I would say, I'd recommend people getting the version that you think is the best so that they get their first experience, like watching it with their children or something like that when they rent it. See what I mean?
Okay.
You're helping people make a better decision than we made because we didn't know there was anything better. You see? I didn't until you told me.
Yeah, they 2 years ago they released the 4K special edition in theaters for one night on December 6th, 2023.
I didn't get to see it.
I didn't know about it. I wish I had, but I
do. I would have went.
Yeah, I would have definitely went.
Because nothing compares for me, honestly. I've seen some really good movies at home on TV, but to me, getting to see, like I went and saw, what was the last movie I went and saw here? Nosferatu by myself, but getting to see it in the theater, eating popcorn, with it all dark and really good sound is the best way to see a good movie. I really still recommend people get to do that if you can. There's nothing like it.
Well, I'm just saying that I like this movie. I don't love it. I don't love the theatrical release by any means. There's a lot of stuff, like the first two acts are fantastic. After Michael Biehn dies, the movie kind of hits a level point, and it doesn't ramp up for me at all. And it's fine. It's okay. This movie is not for Bruce Lombardo. There's other movies that are. The special edition version of this movie is for me because it does have a good story to it. It does have a lot of missing pieces that the theatrical cut doesn't show you. And there's nothing wrong with that because they still made their money back on this movie. This movie cost them $70 million. They made that back multiple times. This movie is done very well. And I'm very happy for James Cameron.
About it today.
What?
That it's amazing to once I read and started going through all the details of what they had to do to train all these people to work in water on almost every single day they went to work, right?
Mhm.
And then all the safety people, all the other people, that the prop people had to get dressed to go down and fix a prop. You see what I mean? Think all this different stuff. That's a lot of training, and that means you're paying professionals. And then you
Yeah.
got to have paramedics, first aid people on set all the time. Every time anyone's on set, you have to have paramedics, and now you have to have water paramedics, people that can go in, save your ass, bring you out, and resuscitate you. See all that, and that's totally different than normal paramedics and stuff on a set. So that's a lot of money. The fact that they only spent $70 million to make all of this for this movie, with the amount of stuff they had to have for the special sets and everything, just in the headsets and all the different things, like they were talking about, the special water suits and everything, just to make this movie is amazing that they were able to do it. Is what they did. Even the part that you're saying, the scene that you're saying, what the editing that they put together for the director's cut, that was all filmed using the stuff that we're talking about that they still use when they put together this movie. So it's the same people. It's not, they didn't do any extra filming and put it into the movie. And if this was stuff that was left on the cutting room floor that you're talking about, okay. So the fact they made that was for $70 million, I'm really surprised that they did such a good job, just like with the other one with Cutthroat Island. The fact that they were able to do so much with so little, because they had good people that wanted to see the movie be a success, and it turned out to be great. I loved it. It's a movie I recommend to people to watch, and I'm thankful that you brought it to my attention so I could see it. So
It's a definite movie that I think it deserves a lot of examination. I think this movie deserves the examination because there's a lot of problems with the filming of it, the preparation of it, the fact that we started going into the movie and they didn't have the technology. They had to fucking kit bash technology to make it work. And now we've, here we are a generation and a half away from it. And so we've got the finest ability to make these underwater scenes nowadays. It just, the fact is that directors are so vain. They want their actors' faces to be seen. And the actors themselves are pretty vain too. They want to be seen as well. They don't want to have situations where they're filmed and yet, like, I don't know if that's them on screen. That could be a stunt man. I have my face illuminated and blind the shit out of me. I have no idea why they think that way, but it seems to be.
That's why lots of movie stars that are famous for their voices and stuff don't even want to do cartoons, like the Transformer movies and things like that. And look how iconic some of their voices are.
Which is hilarious because I am a big fan of good cartoons, and my favorite
people are.
And like if you tell me that you're going to hear Peter Cullen in a role, I'll be listening for it, and I'll probably rate that a little higher because I love his acting. I love the way he imparts his personality into a character's voice. And he does it with multiple voices. He's done it since the Puppy Adventures. He's done it since Dungeons and Dragons. And of course, he did it with Transformers. It's just a very...
Because it's a person who loves bringing a character to life. It's not just it's also the way you sound and how your voice goes up or down or whatever you're doing, and what you put into your voice can also make a character be successful or not. Look how big Toy Story was. And all those actors were willing to put their voice in a movie and not be on screen as a real person. And a lot of actors are throwing tantrums about the AI right now, thinking that they're going to be able to pretend to be them, but not be them, and them not get all the accolades for it. See, a lot of people's, it's like I said, there's a lot of narcissists in the movie industry. There's a lot of narcissists in any movie or industry where they demand to be the center of the attention. So, you hear a lot of horror stories about actors that you don't want to work with because they're hard to work with because they feel like that they're not the center of attention. Then F you, you know what I mean? So I can do without movies with those people. And hasn't hurt my life at all. I don't feel like I've lost out on too much entertainment simply because I don't like to watch Tom Cruise movies, because I don't like Tom Cruise. I just think he's a bloated asshole. Just like I think there's a lot of other ones out there that their head is bigger than their acting ability. I mean, I don't like movies like that. Okay. I don't like movies with people like that in it. Look at Kurt Russell. He is action. He's funny. He does comedy. He's done so many different types of movies, but his head isn't so big that he has to drag it across the floor, does he? And it makes him that much more of an entertaining actor to me when they can act and still be a decent person and not be a dick to people.
I'm going to defend Tom Cruise for a second.
Go ahead.
During COVID, Tom Cruise was adamant about getting Top Gun filmed. And he was adamant about using as much of human assets as he could. And he wanted to make sure that the movie was done right. And then after he helped Universal, because they were focusing on filming this movie as hard as they could, and Universal sued the production for $25 million for being late. And Tom Cruise pretty much put up some of his own resources to help get the movie finished and then get the movie out to the theaters. As much as Tom Cruise might be a bloated little prick, he still took time out of his day to have the cameras roll, and he personally thanked the audience at the start of the movie. I
saw it. I remember I went and saw the movie.
Yeah.
And I went and saw it because of the other actors that were in it, not just because. If it had just been him, I wouldn't have went and saw it. But I supported the people in the movie.
Okay.
Not Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise is the reason why that movie got made. And as much as I don't like Tom Cruise either, I'm not going to jump up and down on the couch screaming about placenta. I am going to be happy about how he was able to force that movie to get into theaters and give us the continuing saga of Pete Mitchell, which a lot of us young men in our Generation X adolescents, we did idolize Tom Cruise, because at the time we didn't know who he was.
A lot of my friends did. They thought he was, no matter what he said or did, he couldn't do a thing wrong. That's how. Maybe that's one of the reasons why I didn't like him.
And the thing is that, well, let's look. Hold on, go back in time. You had Risky Business come out, and he has sex with a cougar, Rebecca De Mornay. Yeah. And then there was a Legend, which nobody saw.
I love Legend. Okay. Remember I said that. That's my favorite Tom Cruise movie.
Okay. But then you had Tom Cruise after 1986. He turns into a Hollywood summertime leading man because of Top Gun, because of Days of Thunder, excuse me. He was in Cocktail. He was in so many iconic
I didn't see Cocktail.
mid 80s to 2000s movies. And the guy was an icon. It wasn't until War of the Worlds came out that finally his star gets tarnished, because he's playing some schlup who can't be anything but a deadbeat dad. And it was so refreshing for a lot of people to see him try something new. But at the same time, a lot of people took time to hammer him personally, because that was the film that he decided to make. And I didn't really give a shit about it.
It wasn't his movies that hurt Tom Cruise for me. That wasn't it. I went and saw Top Gun, and I didn't go see it because he was in it. I went and saw it because of the collection of people that were going to be in the movie, the original one, right?
I'm talking about 86.
Interviews after Top Gun came out, the first one, and some of the other interviews that he did, because I liked Rain Man, because I loved the movie and I loved the other people in the movie. Okay, not just because it was a Tom Cruise movie. I don't go see any movie that I can remember just because one actor was in it. Okay, I just don't remember doing it. But and maybe I had. I'd have to sit down and really think about that. But it was other people that were in the movie that drew me to the movie and the overall story, like Rain Man. Okay. I loved that movie. I loved Legend, not because I didn't even know who Tom Cruise was. It was the story when I saw that, just like with Labyrinth. Now, that might be one of the movies. Now, because what was it? The Prestige. The reason I really wanted to see The Prestige wasn't simply because I had Hugh Jackman or what was the other guy's name? I can't remember his name. He's okay, an actor too. It was because it had damn it, now I must have forgot his name. The guy from Labyrinth, the singer.
David Bowie.
Yeah, David Bowie was in Prestige, and I just like David Bowie. I think he's a very good, versatile actor, and the fact that he was in it, and then the other two people, and the young, beautiful woman that was going to be in it, I thought, and the story, I thought, wow, this looks like it might be a hit movie, and I love the clothing, like I'm always saying, I like that kind of stuff, so I wanted to go see it, and it ended up being a damn good movie, and I really enjoyed myself. So Dangerous Liaisons, all the different movies, Rob Roy, all those types of movies, it's not a major actor that brings it to me, it's the overall story and whether or not I liked the trailer, if it was impressive or not. And you know me, I'm going to go to the movies to see it if I can, because I want that experience of sitting and watching it on the big screen. But it just depends on the story more for me than anything else. I mean, it could have, I went and saw a couple movies with Gene Hackman in it because my mom loved Gene Hackman, and I ended up loving Gene Hackman just because I went to see it with my mother, and watching him portray all these different people, I was like, wow, I was really impressed. And that's how I got to find out about Sharon Stone when I saw her in that movie, Quick and the Dead, yeah. And I think I put that on our list because I love Gene Hackman in that movie, but she was impressive as an actress to me in that role that she played. So there's just, I don't know, there's just too many ways for me to define movies. I can't just say, oh, I'm going to go see it because it's got someone in it. That's it. I just haven't ever done that I know. That's why it's hard for me to understand other people that do that.
I will just say this. If a movie is in production and it has Kurt Russell on it, I'm probably going to go see it. I'm more than likely going to go see anything with Kurt Russell because Kurt Russell was synonymous with you're going to have a good time watching this movie. If it's The Thing or if it's anything by John Carpenter, even if it's him playing Elvis, it's going to be good. 3,000 Miles of Graceland. I'm looking at you, baby. And I really enjoy Kurt Russell just as an actor because he seems like a pretty reasonable guy.
Did you see Bone and Tomahawk?
Not yet.
Well, I've seen it, and man, I tell you, he's a good actor, and a movie is hard to watch.
Yeah, that's a hard watch movie. Everybody's told me this, so we're gonna watch it here probably in January. This is a thing that I will watch a movie because of a leading actor or because of a second unit director, special effects guy, or if I like the director themselves. Sadly, a lot of the directors I grew up watching, because I'm now 50, a lot of those directors are no longer part of the movie making process. They've retired. They've gone on to other planes of existence. And so I don't have that choice to watch all the directors I want to. But I'm still very adamant about watching their entire discography, their entire filmography. I want to see it because when I was unable to do anything else, I was in the hospital watching Southern Comfort, wondering why nobody else saw this movie. And that's something, if you ever see that movie, you're going to be like, why has nobody seen this yet? Because nobody ever talks about it. And it's a very entertaining show.
Michael Biehn. That was another reason why I wanted to go see it.
Yeah, everything with Michael Biehn I've watched is good. Even Harry Brown, which is like the British knockoff Wish version of Nobody, which is a very good movie. But the Harry Brown is barely adequate for me. It's sold only by Michael Biehn. Michael Biehn plays a very good protagonist in that film, and I would recommend anybody that likes Michael Biehn to see Harry Brown as well because
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the movie.
Do I like it enough to put it on our schedule? No. But would I recommend it to be seen? Yes. Next week, the movie we're watching is A Knight's Tale.
Knight's Tale. Why is that so familiar?
Because
I
that's the
don't think
movie
I've seen it.
I don't want to watch it, but I'll fucking watch it just so I never have to watch Avatar or any Avatar movie out there.
Well, why is it on the list then?
What?
Why is it on the list if you don't want to watch it?
Because you wanted to watch it.
A Knight's Tale? I've
Yeah.
never seen it.
A Knight's Tale. Yes, the one where they sing "We Will Rock You" and they're all in the medieval outfit stuff. Oh God, you're gonna make me show this.
No, I mean I haven't seen it, so I'm trying to figure out if you don't like it, why are you wanting to watch it? That's all I'm asking. Because I've never seen it.
You've mentioned this movie. You've mentioned this movie a handful of times.
I have?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know why. You
Goodbye,
it was this
YouTube
one?
monetization.
No, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen this. But just tell me about it. Just go to the IMDb page and we can read it and you won't get in trouble for it.
So,
I haven't seen this movie. I don't know why I would talk about it.
I've heard you say this movie a handful of times.
Okay, we can watch it, but I've never seen it. I don't even like that one guy very much.
Heath Ledger?
Yeah, he's okay. I've seen him in a few things, but I've never seen this.
He was good in The Patriot. He was amazing as the Joker. That's what everybody remembers him from. There's other movies he's done where he's had his lack of acting chops.
I'm talking about this movie. I'm trying to rack my brain and remember.
It's been within the past month we've talked about it.
Somebody chat might have brought it up or something.
You might have been echoing statements on it from somebody else, but I can distinctly remember you've talked about this movie.
I don't remember this one.
So
I remember Men in Tights, talking about that, and a few others, but I don't really watch a lot of Heath Ledger movies, so okay. I don't know. I'm just shocked. That's why I was asking who recommended you to watch this movie. I
want to say you did.
It wasn't me. I'm sorry, you got me mixed up with someone else.
I thought it was during
somebody 4
or 5 weeks ago. I thought it just came out of your mouth talking about it, and I'm like, God, I don't want to see that movie.
I don't want to see it. Let's pick something different then, because I don't care if we don't watch it.
Okay, hold on.
I've never seen it. I sent a bunch of stuff in text saying, "Hey, I want to put this on the list. I want to put this on the list. On the list." But because there are movies most of I've seen.
Okay.
Sorry. So is that the list I've sent you?
This is partial list. I haven't put everything from your text messages in here.
Yeah, see the
it would be 2 more pages.
Yeah, The Lost Boys.
We got Lady Hawk Package, Space Hunters, Our Adventures in Forbidden Zone, Dungeons and Dragons 2001, Mega Force, Rain Man, Face Off, The 13th Warrior. Oops, let me delete this. There we go.
Yeah, we did The 13th Warrior. Porky's, I remember picking that one. See, I've never seen The Strongest Man in the World. Mega Force, I don't think I've seen that one.
Pacific Rim, City of a Thousand Planets, World of Warcraft. That's directed by David Bowie's kid, by the way. Numb, Brave Little Toaster. That was recommended by Crafting. Postman always rings twice. The Hidden, Troll in Central Park, Mad Max, The Matrix, Escape from New York, Signs, Sixth Sense, first movie, The Pirates of the Caribbean, Secret of Nim.
Yeah, I remember picking that one, Secret of Nim.
Stardust, Sky Captain, The World of Tomorrow.
The Comet, I picked that one. I remember telling you that one to put on.
Yeah, I remember that. Register Bithia.
Yeah, Register Bithia, I picked that one. See, I got a lot of them, but I don't know why you thought I said that one, because I don't.
No, it was like less than 5 weeks ago. I thought it came out of your mouth. I'm pretty certain it was that.
Maybe I got it mixed up with another movie. But
I think you did. I think you got mixed up with another film. Oh.
There was a movie that I was telling you I wanted to see, and it was one with this just I think he's Chinese or Japanese actor, and it's a Knights type movie like that. You said you were going to put it on the list, but I can't remember the name of it. And you showed me the trailer after we were done, and I was like, I want to see that movie, but I've never seen it before. And it was a Knights movie, but it was do you remember what actor I'm talking about?
Not in the least bit.
Oh, God, I'm sorry, I'm so terrible with the names of people and stuff.
It's okay. We'll figure it out.
Sorry.
Um,
You put Lady Hawk there if you want. That's a good one. I mean, I mean, any of these movies are good because, you know, if I've seen it and I bought it, then I know I like it. And then some of the ones that you've recommended, I've really enjoyed too, because I would never have seen them.
I want to do something that I haven't seen in years, and so we're gonna go with The Hidden from 1986.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
It's Kyle MacLachlan, and I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, we'll do The Hidden because
Yeah.
I don't know that. Maybe it might have been the other person that was on the show before that said that movie.
Wow, the chat went fucking apeshit about Knight's Tale. Thank you guys for backing me up.
Was it me?
Heath Ledger movie. That's a horrible movie, and not in a good way.
Oh, they don't want to watch it either?
No.
Good. I don't want to see it. I mean, it's not something I would
walk out of the theater. They started dancing in the middle of the film. I wasn't advertised on a fucking. Yeah, that right there. The "We Will Rock You" bullshit. Fuck you. Never gonna see that movie. Never gonna watch it. Never gonna finish it. Fuck you. Knight's Tale.
Is that the one?
Yes, that's the one.
I haven't seen it.
That trailer that we were watching, you didn't hear the soundtrack going on in the background, but that soundtrack is like grasping at straws, trying to get you to go see it because it makes you think of all the happy thoughts you've had listening to 80s rock. And
I would never recommend
that movie is shit.
I never heard of it, and it wouldn't be something I picked. That's why I was trying to think of what could I have said or done to make you think I wanted that movie.
I could have swore you saw A Knight's Tale. You said A Knight's Tale because I was like, fine, I'll put it on the list. And fucking today we were talking about I'd rather watch A Knight's Tale than a fucking Avatar movie. I don't want to watch Avatar. I don't, and I like the fucking actors in Avatar.
But I haven't sent you the Avatar either, or any of those. I haven't put that on the list yet. There's too many other good movies
yes, too many other great movies that are.
And The Troll in Central Park. I haven't seen that. I've never seen that movie.
But we'll get in. We'll start going in through the list.
And I don't know what that one's about. What is it about, at least?
It's about a shape-shifting, and excuse me, it's a kind of like The Thing where there's an alien that jumps from body to body to body, but it's actually really a good movie for Kyle MacLachlan. Claudia Christian is in that movie as well, but she's really not a great actress. If you see the 4th season of Babylon 5, she really drops the ball.
Yeah, remember, I wanted to put The Cocoon on there too. Remember, I asked about that a while back.
Yeah.
But remember when you lost Discord and stuff, a lot of the stuff that I used to send you on there is gone. So I don't have that. But sorry about that confusion. I don't remember ever saying that because I'm like, I don't know why I would say it because I'd never seen it. And it's just not a movie that I.
If you guys thought I was vicious on fucking Eddie and the Cruisers, wait till you make me watch fucking Knight's Tale. I'll never get the word fuck out of my mouth.
I've never seen Knight's Tale. That's what I said. I've never seen it. So
yeah,
I loved Eddie and the Cruisers, and I still like it. I love the music.
I'm glad you do. I'm glad somebody does. If that movie was dependent on me, they would have gone broke.
Well, thank goodness it wasn't because it was good. I like the music.
It was good for you. I wanted to like it. I like Michael Biehn. You know, he's done good movies in the past. Mm-hmm. You know, he never was an American leading man.
Yeah, I remember when I thought about it was because you were talking about him in that other movie about something with people going in time or something.
Yeah, the Philadelphia Experiment.
Yeah, when you were talking about that, and I said, "Oh, if you want to do a movie with him in it, I would like to see Eddie and the Cruisers." That's why that came up because I remember we had.
And you never saw the Philadelphia Experiment.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
But I said I like that actor, because I loved him in this movie, and he did a great job at pretending he was a singer because he seemed very believable in the movie to me.
Yeah, he does a pretty good job in that movie. I just don't like the movie.
Well,
I
it's okay. I don't like all the movies either, so that's what's good about it. But I like seeing movies I haven't seen before, um, if if it's interesting, except for that one.
I honestly feel that you're going to enjoy The Hidden because it does a good job of being a very good
Is
suspense.
it like a sci-fi horror movie?
Kind of.
Okay, well, see, I like that kind of. That's already leaning in the right direction for me, so I'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
But thanks, this was fun. I had fun.
What's chat? What is your rating for the theatrical edition of The Abyss? If you understand the difference between that and the special edition, that's great. But what's your feeling on it? Because we didn't really go into your feelings on this, and I kind of apologize. Call me an asshole. I apologize, but I want to know if you guys like The Abyss because I think it is a good movie. I think it's excessively flawed, and I think that the studio does what the studio does.
Bone is so funny.
Maybe the special edition of A Knight's Tale is way better and worth watching. Put it back on the list. Hold on, Bone. Let me go grab a mallet and smack my dick with it.
No, I don't want to see that either. But I really enjoyed this movie. I mean, since the first time I ever saw it in the movie theater, I cried. It was nail biting. I was on the edge of my seat. It was intense. It was believable. The sets were just phenomenal. I felt like, it's like I said, even this time I watch it, like this is like the 23rd time I've seen this movie, and the same version, not the one that you've seen. And I felt like I was holding my breath a lot. I was trying to get my breath, like I couldn't expand because I was crowded in. I had that crowded feeling.
Sardine can.
All of that. I had all those emotions constantly through the whole movie, and I thought the ending was wonderful because when you see him typing, hey, that he's there, and everybody realizes he's still alive. That's almost like a miracle because they knew that it defied logic, basically. Mm-hmm. And that's when the people that did get to see, like when the guy that was in the coma and he woke up and he said, I thought it was an angel coming for me because I thought I was dead. See, that whole thing, I just liked it because it gave you different perspectives of what they saw when they did see it. And then when she's spilling her guts to him, even though they're in the middle of getting divorced or whatever, and she's trying to get him to believe that what she saw, she doesn't know exactly what it was that she saw, but she knew she saw something, and it was not one of us. It wasn't something human, and he just could not grasp it. He could not, even though he knew how logical she was and how smart she was, he couldn't believe her. So the fact that he got to finally see what she saw, but he was near death when he saw it. That's kind of gross. It's one of those things that eat you on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know you like those things a lot. I'm glad they don't really exist.
We use this for the spell Vicious Pit. We have the acid pit.
No, that's what I said. We use it a lot.
Yeah. And I bought more of them because I figured, well.
I like the way the coloring on that one. There's something else. Yeah, right there. What is that one?
Same thing.
Yeah, so you got some different colored ones. That's good. I like that.
I wanted to have different colored ones.
Your beautiful dragon that I was oohing and on about the other day. I still think it's gorgeous. I was talking about it the other day too.
The one right there?
Yeah, no, the other one, the fairy one. The one I said, oh, Bruce, you painted that? Remember, I was so impressed.
Yeah.
You used those colors.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't have chosen these colors. I would have chosen something similar to it, but I do have a lot of pastels.
Yeah, that is so pretty. I just love that. I still love it. I think it's one of my favorite ones of your dragons. I just love the look of the wings. It's the glass part of it. They look like they'd shatter if you hit them.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I like about it. The look of it and the color of the dragon's face and stuff. I love that. But my score for this movie is I'm going to give it a 9.
A 9?
A 9,
okay.
Yeah. So I can't wait to see your version, because if it's better than what I just watched, it'll probably be another 10. And there's only like, what, 4 movies? The Tombstone's one of them, and The Great Raid that I've given a 10 to.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean,
Yeah,
you very rarely give a
yeah.
10 to movies.
But because there's very few movies at my very top.
I've never given a movie a 10.
And if I see this movie and it's better, I would at least get a 9.5 then, at least. And because if it's better than this version, which I loved,
I think so. I completely think so.
It will be that.
I really love
I
this
love
little
this
camera.
Mhm.
Hold on.
The Abyss, 8.5 out of 10. Yeah, that's a good score, because it really, really is good. Considering, how old is the movie again?
89.
Wow, it seems amazing to me how much detail and stuff they were able to do in this movie for that amount of money. I still can't believe it. It just seems really bad, because you remember CGI was in this baby form, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So the whole thing with the water being manipulated and then having her face and then his face, stuff like that, the way it was communicating, and then it going just like what the nerd guy, the rat guy, when he said maybe it's a probe, it's using water like we would a probe, basically, you know. And I just thought that whole thing was so good, all the way up until the very end when they showed the actual creature inside of whatever it was, the device it was manipulating. That was the only thing that brought it down for me, is because I didn't think the alien was unique enough when it came to its facial features and stuff. It almost looked like an alien intertwined with the butterfly kind of look. I would have liked it more if it looked more like a butterfly's face, or a squid. You know what I'm saying? Something like that, because it just had that. It just looked too alien, like E.T. Phone Home was even more believable alien to me, facial feature wise, than the one that they used in this one. In this movie, that was the only thing I didn't like about it. I remember at the movie theater, was that it was a kind of a little bit of a letdown. It was
I'm not a super fan of the aliens in this movie, but I appreciate their
up to that, the wistfulness of it, how it, like I said, the bioluminescent look.
It looks very fey, in my opinion.
Not just fey. It reminded me, because I love underwater stuff. Remember I said I watch all these documentaries, and it shows the squid and the different things that are going swimming around in the water, and they light up. Mm-hmm. That's what it reminded me of. So the fact that they made it jellyfish-like and squid-like, that made it even more intriguing to me, all the way up until the very end when they show it and it looks like an alien in a fairy suit. You know what I mean? I just, that's not what I don't like the face. I didn't like the face that it had at the ending. It didn't seem. I hope that it's different in the other movie. That would be
no. It's not different. It's the same alien, but the script and the events that happen in the special edition are completely different, because you get to see what really happens between the point where Ed Harris smiles at the aliens and then everything comes up to the surface, because there's like 30 fucking minutes that you missed out on.
Okay, well, yeah, that would be good to see that difference in that. But that was that one letdown for me, because I remember visualizing it for a long, long time, watching the movie and watching documentaries, leading up to seeing this movie. And, Jacques Cousteau with my dad, he used to love Jacques Cousteau. And they showed, some of the little round submersibles that go down off the ship. And they were showing the bioluminescence. And then that one creature, that glob looking fish, it has all the needle teeth, and it has that little doily thing that hangs up and down on its head. Mm-hmm. It bobs around and it lights up. So the fact that it lit up like that, really down deep. And he said, I can see light. And they're like, where? And he says, everywhere. And that's what was so impressive to me, the way they did that and the colors that they use, because that's what they do down there. the creatures have really bright, cool colors in their made of like goo, like you see when you see the jellyfish watch up on the beach, and they're all like just like gooey looking, and that's what this is, because you can't have bones and stuff down that deep. Is you just get crushed. That's why you have to have a thing that can just kind of be globbed around and not kill it. You know what I mean? That's why I thought it would be so neat. And then when I saw the actual alienish face, that kind of let me down a little bit. Besides that, though, it was just phenomenal. I just loved the whole idea of deep ocean life, because I know there is life. I really do believe there's life down there. The deeper we go, and we end up finding stuff by the vents, even though it's so freaking hot, cooks everything. But there's shrimp and all kinds of stuff that live there.
There's been so many times where we had like situations where we had fossils of a fish that we never saw.
Mm-hmm.
And then you find out, the coelacanth is still actually a living creature that
still having babies and everything. Life.
Yeah, they're still surviving down below.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is that it might have evolved, or maybe it's got something different in the code of the genetics now to where it can survive at a different depth. And I would think that there's still, like, you can call me crazy because I don't care, but I would think there's still like trilobites out there. There's still trilobites.
I bet there is.
Out, and they're scurrying the ocean floor at some incredibly nasty crush depth with a reinforced exoskeleton. Mm-hmm. And I think trilobites are cool looking, like pill bugs, the little roly-poly bugs. Those are kind of cute, but fucking
horseshoe crab. Have you ever seen
awesome.
a real horseshoe crab in real life?
Yep.
I remember the first time my dad showed me, because my dad was just, remember, he did scuba diving instruction and stuff like that for survival skills,
He like hold his breath, huh?
Yeah, well, he likes to do all that. I mean, he had everything. I couldn't remember. I told you he did some when he was real young, fresh in the military. He was in the TV series Sea Hunt a couple times with Lloyd Bridges, and he had his scuba tanks autographed and stuff. And my mom said she got to meet his wife, and he had 2 little boys or whatever on the beach and stuff like that. So that was when we lived in Florida. I think I was really a toddler or whatever, wasn't very old at all. But the fact that my dad got to do that, he thought it was really cool, because he did I don't know if he did a lot of the stuff, but he was like a trainer, like what you would have on the movie that we just watched. You have to have people train these people. And that's what my dad did. My dad did stuff like that for his survival stuff. But that's why I'm saying I understand how so many problems can happen when you have a lot of people all trying to be squeezed in. And you got, just like I said, you had to have light people. You have to have different prop people. You have to have all these different technical people on top of that, and the actors. And that's a lot of people to squeeze into a little pool of water 33 feet down and have them do different things, and have the poof of dust, sand and sediment coming up every time they walked, and, all that to make it believable. And I thought it was freaking awesome. I just loved it. So, yeah. So what's your score again now? A 7?
70. 70 for the theatrical release. Call me a dick. That's fine. J-Recreation says Brandon Fraser is better in good dramas, not comedies. Unfortunately, the only 2 good dramas were With Honors and School Ties. With Honors has gotten savaged on internet here in the last few years. I thought it was a decent movie when I saw it in '94.
I never saw either one.
I'd be open to either of those later on. But
I think I saw, isn't he the one that was in The Mummy? That the actor?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that movie remember the movie that we did where he's in a bunker underground?
Mm-hmm. Blast from the Past.
I'd seen it.
Remember? Great movie.
It was a good movie too, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm saying I've seen some really good movies that I never would have ever probably seen if I hadn't done this with you. So I'm thankful for that. So.
Janet, next week.
They're saying The Forgotten. Is that a movie? Is that a
It,
movie that you're
it's
gonna
okay.
watch?
It's got Julianne Moore in it. You could throw it on the list.
I don't think I've seen that one. I'm trying to remember it. I'd have to go look, but
The
someone
movie's
was
kind of a mind fuck. It's okay.
okay. Well, okay, I'm ready. What were you saying now?
Next week we watch The Hidden, and I'll enjoy watching you explain your feelings about that because that's a fairly good, straightforward movie, but it's done very well. It really exploded on the VHS beta market back in
Hmm.
its release of 1987. It
Okay.
was one of those movies that was just overlooked at theaters, and that's a shame because it could have been that should have been a really big movie, and it just wasn't. It had, to me, everything you need, and that movie is what basically started my love of medium budget action movies.
Hmm.
So I hope that helps clarify some things. Uh, Other than that, I want to tell everybody thank you for being here with us today. Uh, RPG Grandma, good seeing you. Haven't seen you in a while, and I know you've been busy. She's been really busy.
Yeah.
Other individuals in the chat, Tree Rock Creations, Cotton Ministries, Bone.
Yeah.
Really
Everybody.
appreciate you guys. And thank you for backing me up on fucking A Knight's Tale because I fucking hate that movie. Still
Well,
haven't gotten my.
I couldn't. I didn't. I just don't remember asking to see a movie I know I've never seen before. It just doesn't.
I think you misspoke. I think you
I
misspoke because
might have
that one
said
came out of your mouth. That one's been out of your mouth a couple times, and I'm like, God, I don't want to see this movie. But I'll watch that movie if I don't have to
I'm
watch
glad I
something
haven't
else.
seen it. I just don't remember it. But thanks, everyone. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. It was fun. This is a good one. I love this one.